The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah, go Cowboys!
This is Mick Shots.
Streaming live on DallasCowboys.com and the official Dallas Cowboys app.
Now, here are Bill Jones, Everson Walls, and Mickey Spagnola.
Well, what's the saying? 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Bill Jones still under the weather, but coming in out of the bullpen is Nate Newton.
Hey,
You know what, man? They told me Bill Jones got hit by A.J. Dillon. He ain't recovered.
No, he's still sick over that loss.
We all got on black, so when are we going to turn the page?
right. Well, we feel better after last night. Don't
Yeah.
we? We feel a whole
You know what
lot better.
you know what I realized is when you win the game
Yes, sir.
and you get to Tuesday here on Mick Shots in the SWBC podcast studio at the Star, you're on to the next game. But when you lose, you're still analyzing the loss.
Yep. Yes, sir.
Right? And it kind of hangs with you. And, the players are off today. We'll see if it hangs with them, but they better get over it by time they show up on Wednesday for the first practice getting ready for the Vikings. So in the meantime, we've heard from Mike McCarthy again. We've heard from the coordinators again. And this morning we heard from Jerry Jones, kind of still analyzing the 31-28 overtime loss to the Green Bay Packers.
Did they have any new revelations during the press conference or the Q&As? Anything different? Did he go off on somebody? Did he talk about the refs? Did he,
Stop the run.
That's it. The obvious.
It
He
seemed
stated
to be,
the obvious.
It seemed to be the preeminent discussion point from McCarthy still, from Jerry, from
Quinn? Did we hear from Quinn?
So Quinn, when asked about the loss or when he got started, the first thing he said, that one stinks. And then he went on to say that the thing that hurt the most was losing the league as big as anything. We've got to close it down. So that's what he was most disgusted with. Talked about uncharacteristic errors and kind of a reminder of do your job.
So it wasn't the system.
No,
That's
it
what he
was
said.
not the
That
system.
sounds like he's pushing that off on the players. All right, so do your job because the system works.
Well, when he asked about the players, if he had the right players to be able to stop the run, he said 100%. So it's about do your job.
So everybody's got to get on the same page.
Yeah.
They tried to give an excuse the other night talking about lack of practice. That's why you've
Like
got
league round?
Yeah,
League-wide?
league-wide. Yes, lack of practice being the reason you have so much inconsistency going around the league. You look at last night. Hell, the Eagles had the same problem we have. You can't stop the run. Now, we were known for not being able to stop the run. This was a surprise for Philadelphia. Now, I don't know why it was so much a surprise because I saw Zeke Elliott and Tony Pollard running all over them. So I'm not that surprised that the Commanders had that running game going.
Nate, we already talked about this, how persistent the Washington team was to run the ball, right?
Yes. They say great minds think alike. And I want to commend you, Coach Quinn. Yes, sir. Do your job.
Yeah, that's what you said yesterday.
Do your job. This has not. I know the history of Coach Quinn. We all do. He was the leader of that Legion of Boom. He was the man. If he'd have stopped trying to be a head coach in Atlanta and just take over his defense,
Right.
that would have been different.
Yeah, they would have had the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I am. This is on the players, fellas, and I'm not changing away from that. Everybody has made adjustments. Kellen Moore has made an adjustment and committed himself to the run.
Yeah.
Coach McCarthy is more into the offense now. You see this. Dan Quinn has went out and got, what his name,
Bohanna.
I mean,
Bohanna.
I want to call him, a Bohemian. They went out and got a big dude. They got Hankerson. We have the personnel. Now we just got to redirect their minds. Earn the right to rush the passer. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to go back quiet. Y'all do what you do. I'm going to go back dormant on that.
And here's my issue. And it's all about the linebackers for me. I think the defensive linemen, they're trying to do their job as best they can. You have to have active linebackers for this defense and active linebackers to try and hold down the edge for this particular team. They start off just like they did in Tampa. Tampa saw it right away, and we've been getting killed by it ever since the first game. They can't hold down the edge, and then as soon as we make the adjustment to hold down the edge, they start hitting us up the middle. So we need to be smarter, number one. We need to be smarter as a defense. Number two, we need linebackers, and I know I'm going way back. I was accustomed to playing when I was with the Giants. I was accustomed to playing with linebackers who had that attitude. One of those New York Giant linebackers happened to be from the Dallas Cowboys, and that's Steve Diassi. Gary Reasons went down during that year in 1990, and Steve Diassi came in, and he and Pepper Johnson, they weighed in at about 255. By the time the weekend was over, they were about 265. You know what I'm talking about, 270.
Right.
And boy, we was ready to play.
Yeah.
They were ready to play.
Right.
And they would hit that guard, and they would stuff that guard in the hole, and there was nowhere to go. When I see these linebackers that we have on this defense, Parsons excluded, but I still need to get into his technique. They need to understand what the priorities are. You cannot go around your block. You got to meet that block. You cannot go around the block. We always talk about it. Eugene Lockhart had 200-something tackles. All of them was 10 yards down the field. Well, that's what Van Der Esch is looking like. He's making the tackles, but he's all the way down the field. I got to have some guys that's going to stuff that thing in the hole because we have too many creases, and those defensive linemen are getting hung out when it comes to them getting hooked, and no one is filling that hole. Nate knows more about blocking schemes than I do. I know about stopping blocking schemes.
So Jerry Jones was buying into it too, because he said here on out the one constant is stopping the run, meaning their priority. And he said, unfortunately, we're jumping right out of the frying pan and into the fire because they got to face Minnesota next. I hadn't heard that one in a little while. So, and so that's kind of where all the and to just kind of, why there's so much talk about it. And you were right. You went back to the first game. In the NFL rankings this week, when it comes to yards, the Cowboys ranked 29th against the run. 29th.
Oh, we improved.
They were third. They fell.
Yeah, they fell.
And the amazing thing is they're still ranked 12th overall on defense.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it makes sense, right? If you can't stop the run, who's going to throw against you? They're going to run. Sort of like what we saw last night. We talked about it with the Washington and Philadelphia. Washington ran for 152 yards. But it took them 49 carries to do it. Mm-hmm. But they stuck with it, right? Because that, in my math, that's like 3 yards a carry. It wasn't like they were killing them. And as Nate said, it's like the Eagles never had the football.
That's right. They never – fellas, this league is slowly – because of how the defenses have caught up to the offense.
Yes.
This league is slowly getting back like, you know what, fellas?
Old school.
We better hold on to this football
Old school.
While we got it. Because it's about who was more determined to run this ball. And it was good to see last night. It was good because to see that this old-fashioned football, and now when we see a play-action pass, we know that thing is for 15, 16 yards. The intermediate game had took over, the short to intermediate game. But when you run the football more, all of a sudden you start seeing more and more big plays, or it seemed to be bigger plays. Because every time they hit one of them wide receivers, it seemed like it was for 15 or 16 yards.
What about in the Cowboys game? You talk about that. We were doing a very good job running the ball. And, boy, when we came with the play action, Dak looked like he dropped back 15 yards. And he eyeballed CeeDee Lamb the entire way. And before he threw the ball, I was watching with a group of people. Everyone in the house knew that's going to be a dime.
It was going to be
open. You knew it was going to be
dime.
dime.
Because he's open, right?
He's open. He looked down the whole time. He took his time, and that was the touchdown.
Yeah.
And so that's what you're talking about. We had established that run, and that's what we're doing throughout the entire NFL. So when it comes down to it, Heineke had, his rating wasn't that good. He had no touchdowns and 1 interception, 200-plus yards. He didn't really need to be great because what they did was they kept the third downs to a minimum. Right?
Yes.
I mean, it was always third and short. It was always third and short. They second down was important for them. They would get 6 yards. They would get 7 yards. And they kept the penalties off the table.
In the Green Bay game, go back and look. It opened up the same way for Green Bay.
Man.
Yeah. Because they was third and short.
All the time.
They had a stat last night, like this was the third or fourth straight 3rd and 1.
Yeah.
And all you have to do is quarterback sneak or, it's
we
pretty
did it
simple.
Too.
Right?
We did it too.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's 60 minutes in a game, and the Eagles only had the ball for 19:44. So that means I want to say Redskins. It's just so
It's Commanders.
The Commanders had the ball twice as long as the Eagles. They had it for 4.
They use all.
And what
3
was the
downs.
score at the end?
32-21, Washington.
But you got to take away that last touchdown.
I laugh because a lot of times you dominate, and these games in the NFL are still so close.
Yeah.
For the domination that Washington showed, the game still seems to be a little bit closer.
That's right.
And so Coach McCarthy said, I feel for these guys because you need to learn how to win games this close.
Yeah.
And that is the key.
Man, that's funny.
And I'll give you 2 plays. See, normally you have to go back and pick.
Yeah.
What play? Mix up in the end zone.
Yep.
Interception to CD. That would either gave us a 21-point lead or a 24-point lead.
Right.
So I tell people it's right here, you cannot relax, especially when you're in that type of game.
Yeah.
You're on the road.
On the road.
Your defense is going to need help, and you're going to have to be precise on offense.
And you're playing against a future Hall of Famer.
Yes.
So
it was desperate.
Desperate. 5 wounded ducks.
Yeah.
Here's I looked at the scores this week, and 7 teams won scoring at least 27 points. At least 27.
Yes, sir.
That's a change.
Only 3 teams, including the Cowboys, lost when scoring at least 28 points. So normally, if you score 28 points, you're winning.
Yeah.
The Cowboys lose in overtime by 3. The Bears lose by 1.
And the Bills.
And the Bills lose in overtime by 3. So I know, and I know what you said is right about scoring points offensively.
Right.
But you did put up 28 points. That should be enough to win a ball game.
Especially with the defense we've been bragging on since week 1.
Yes. And so, and I hear all this, well, now they really need Odell Beckham Jr. Well, can he play cornerback? Can he play?
Right. We didn't show that we were lacking at wide receiver.
Can he
That's
play
not what we
defensive end? It's like 28 points is 28 points. So here we are.
But the thing is, and I heard you earlier on your hit. Yes, we scored the 28 points at the right time, And yes, we do have to play because them old garbage can points.
Yeah.
These were not garbage can
No,
points.
they were not empty calories.
They were strong points.
Yes.
And so that's why I'm like, no, Mick, you right, because we scored this the right way. Our defense did not hold up, and I said this 5 years ago, and I've been saying it, and I'm gonna keep saying it, fellas. It ain't that we're giving up those big chunk yardage in the run. It's
a steady.
The killer is
steady leak.
The killer is whenever we play a good quarterback, that teams that can run the ball.
He knows how to capitalize off of the play action.
And that's what Aaron did. Aaron like saying in my mind, I ain't got to throw this ball today.
Nope.
Tom Brady's like, I ain't got to throw this ball today.
Nope.
So that we can beat the Bears, we can beat the Lions. Look at the quarterbacks.
Yeah.
But nah, that ain't happening against the good teams. We gonna be all right as long as we understand who we're playing.
We talked earlier this year about how close all the games were. Remember that?
Yeah.
And all of them within 2 scores.
Yes.
So everything right now is you might look at the outcome of a game and say, oh, they got them by this much. Well, it was really closer than it appeared.
Yes.
The score did not dictate how close that game was. So every game we play this year is going to be like that. And when you go to Minnesota, you have to think, okay, we still have a chance to win every game as well, just like we have a chance to lose every game.
That's right.
So we can't go into a game thinking that we're outmanned. You always pick Cowboys to win. I always put Cowboys to win because I know they can win anytime they really put it together.
That's right.
We've done it ourselves. That's why it's
right.
hard to pick against them because we've seen it happen. We've done it ourselves.
9 games were 1 score.
Come on.
This week, and I'm counting 8 points or less.
Of course.
Yeah, and really 10 because that was the last trash touchdown.
Yeah, that's why I said if you want to count that, you don't
but
count that.
it ended up being a 1-score game.
It did.
I thought this was interesting. I was going through what Aaron Rodgers had to say after the game, and he said we hadn't scored 30 points in a long time. It seemed like, and so he was saying, we got the offense going, but the key thing was I felt like I threw the ball just about exactly where I wanted to tonight, and I wanted a chance to go win the game, meaning what he threw was good.
They were quality, not
I didn't
quantity.
need to throw 30 or 40 points
quality.
passes to be able to win the game.
Yeah.
And see, now that leads me right into this right quick, like, Dak, don't take no more from them guys.
Don't fall on the sword.
Yeah. Yeah, and I ain't saying you got to call them out in the media.
No.
But when we walking up the tunnel at halftime, when we over there on the bench, I don't care about CBS, NBC, or ESPN. Man, let them guys know this can't happen. This cannot happen. And Stephen A., I love you, man. Stop with that foolishness.
What is he doing, man?
He say Dak ain't giving Jerry his money's worth.
Well, he don't even know how everything went down. All he sees is
I love him, man. Boy, this is screaming brother.
They have all he want. It's this funny thing about the Cowboys about how the pundits treat the Cowboys themselves. I don't know what it is about the Cowboys. For some reason,
It's because they are the Cowboys.
When we lose, it's like that's the first thing that's going to be on whatever those shows are.
Yeah.
I don't even want to give them any love. All those shows, that's the first thing that you're going to see. If I wake up, I'm going to see that star if we lose.
Right.
If we win, I'm not going to see that star. I'm going to look at another game. Buffalo, how did they put it? The Cowboys haven't been to a Super Bowl in I don't know how long.
Right.
Buffalo too, right?
That's my point. No one talks about Buffalo.
Washington too, right?
No,
But
Yeah,
I'm glad they talk about it.
Yeah,
I'm
but
glad.
no, Buffalo is a team. I said to myself, hell, when have they made it? I talked to my son. When have they made it to a Super Bowl? When's the last time Buffalo's been to a Super Bowl? With me?
1993.
There you go. Right after, no, it's you guys. It was with you guys.
You know what? I don't care. Keep talking about us.
Well, and I know we got to go to a break, but and I think we talked about it yesterday. I can't remember, but Dak was chewing somebody out on the sideline.
Yes,
They caught him when he
was.
kept going like this.
Right.
And they said, oh, he was saying it was on me. And I'm going, no, that's not what he was saying at that point.
When CeeDee Lamb was getting on Schultz, I think Dak was he was just making sure that they talked. Y'all got to talk because that was on y'all. And you saw CeeDee like, man, you got to get out of my way.
You know what Jerry called those things? He called them faith throws. Like, I've got faith that you're going to do what you're supposed to do.
All of his throws are
and
faith
I'm
throws.
throwing them, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
The pass to Dalton Schultz, it wasn't a first down, but, man, he threw a dime. He had to, with Schultz, better turn around. The ball's going to hit him in the back of the head. You know what I'm saying? It was a hell of a pass, hell of a catch. And that set us up with a 3rd and short. So, yeah, all throws to me in these timing offenses, especially talking West Coast offense, when that back foot hits, it's coming out. I learned that against San Francisco. That was the first time I ever played against it, back in 1981. When that ball hit, you better be ready, okay? You better be ready. You can't be back there going, I got to decipher this and decipher that. No, you got to go now. That's the way the game has been since the 1980s.
And there you have it.
Yes, sir. Great.
Everson Walls, Nate Newton, Mickey Spagnola. We will continue with Mick Shots here on DallasCowboys.com in a moment.
The Medal of Honor is our country's highest military award for valor in combat. More than 40 million individuals have served in the armed forces since the Civil War. Fewer than 4,000 have received the Medal of Honor. The National Medal of Honor Museum will be a place to preserve these legacies and inspire America. It's being built right next door to the Dallas Cowboys in Texas. Help us honor our country's greatest heroes. Learn more and get involved at mohmuseum.org.
We paid how much for those lessons?
Shh, she's doing great.
Oh, yeah, totally. Can you pass me a Pepsi Zero Sugar? Great job, honey! Oh, look at that. That's not the end.
No way. Now it's time for the encore.
You know what? You're right. 5 times? Not enough times.
For everyone who traded in rock concerts for their kids' recitals, you've compromised enough. Pepsi Zero Sugar. That's what I like.
Nobody protects you from mayhem like Allstate. You hear that? I'm a torrential downpour. Torrential? What's that even mean? It means you can't see out of your windshield. And if you have the wrong car insurance, you might have to make it rain to fix your bumper. So switch to Allstate, save money, and be better protected from mayhem, like me.
Based on coverage and limits selected. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. In most states, prices vary based on how you buy. Allstate Bar and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
What do you call a group of grown men and women with their faces painted silver and blue who get together every week to share a 3-hour-long ritual of jumping, singing, and toasting Miller Lite in 10-gallon hats while yelling, "How about them Cowboys?" You call it Miller Time in Dallas. Here's to the Cowboys. Here's to the original light beer. It's Miller Time. Celebrate responsibly. 2021 Miller Brewing Company, Fort Worth, Texas.
Back to Mick Shots.
K-Post Roofing and Waterproofing, proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys. From corporate homes to your home. Have your roof checked by choice, not by chance. Call now, 214-225-4860, and that's kpostcompany.com as we continue on here with Mick Shots. And, you know, the amazing thing, I know everybody's down. The Cowboys lose a game that you think they should have won. They're 6-3. But Washington helped out.
Yes, sir.
Because now I think Nate was talking about, assuming that
now
the Eagles would have won, they would have been 9-0.
We got to win against them.
Yeah. And
Mick,
so the
Mick,
standings are.
Let me cut you off, Mick. You got that wrong, man. We're not down. No one's down.
Well,
yeah.
Listen. Listen to talk radio and listen to the reason
I say that. The reason I say that because I said this yesterday. I listen to everybody's podcast.
Yeah.
At least once a week, and none of y'all said wholeheartedly during the week, we got Aaron Rodgers.
Right. No. Yeah. Right. That was my biggest concern.
Right. So I'm just now the fans are down.
Yeah.
But we all
we saw it coming.
in this world say, boy, we hope this ain't the game.
When I did,
how did we say? Cowboys offense start off slow.
Yeah.
Defense won't stop the run.
Yeah.
And you got Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
So Saturday night, on the road for this game, the Star Sports Tour, I host a little reception, and it was a really good group. There was about, I don't know, maybe 30 people, and they go, "What concerns you about this game?" And I said, "Well, the Cowboys got to stop the run, and Aaron Rodgers is still out there." I said, "I don't care what their record is. I don't care how many they've lost in a row."
Matter of fact, the more they lose in a row, the more nervous we were.
And I told him my philosophy about the more you lose, the closer you are to winning. And the more you win, Eagles, the closer you are to losing.
That's right.
And so then I said I'm still scared of Aaron Rodgers, and then there it was. So, way it stands right now, the Eagles 8-1. The Giants next at 7-2. The Cowboys 6-3. And how about this? The Commanders 5-5. They're right there on everybody's tail almost now.
And they tried to lose it too.
Yeah,
they tried to give it up. There was so much that went down that the Philly could not take advantage of. And when you start looking at that secondary for the Commanders, they were on it last night. I mean, they were hungry. They were still getting beat. There was some great plays by Philly, but boy, they were hungry. They never gave up. It's like their sense of urgency was at its highest height. And when you saw, that was the most unique interception I think I've ever seen, because Brown had the ball in his hands. Everybody did their job. He had the ball. The DB hitting his hands allowed that ball to pop up into the other defender's hands.
Yeah.
That was really odd. I don't think I've ever seen it happen.
And then when he
in
came
that
down,
sequence.
the ball landed in his chest, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, yeah, I guess I'll grab that.
Yeah, because I think he was trying to go for the ball, but he missed it. It actually hit Brown in the hands. He will always think about that because it actually hit him in the hands. The other DB never gave up. The cornerback never gave up. As he hit him, bounced up in the air. Number 25 came and got it. That was pretty cool.
So the interesting thing with the records in the NFC, so the Cowboys are still in the top 7, right? So they would be in the playoffs if the playoffs started today. And the only teams with a better record than the Cowboys, the Eagles 8-1, the Giants 7-2, and Minnesota 7-1.
Yeah.
No,
8-1.
8-1,
yeah.
I think. Yeah. So it's like okay. And then there's the Cowboys at 6-3.
So a win this week,
it would be huge.
That will bunch it up a lot.
Yeah. In the East, depending on. Meant to look at that to see what the Giants have this week. They end up playing Detroit at the Giants, and Philadelphia is at Indianapolis. So there you go there, and the Cowboys got to take care of their own business.
I wouldn't put it past Detroit now. They have a taste of winning.
They keep giving
people problems. They have a taste of winning.
Right?
They won this last week. Now they're feeling it. They won on the road. When is the last time the Lions won on the road? Just think about that. They're feeling it now.
They're kind of a surprise. You know what the other surprise team is? And I think I need to remember to watch this tonight. Hard Knocks. Arizona at 4-6.
Yeah.
And it doesn't sound like they're getting along.
I heard that. I heard that. You've got the face of the franchise and the coach.
Yeah.
They're not getting along at all. They're not warm and fuzzy.
Funny how that happens when you lose.
That's right.
Because I was reading.
They won this past week, so that's a good thing.
When I was reading the Green Bay paper last week, it was like, well, I don't think Aaron Rodgers and LaFleur are seeing eye to eye on a whole lot of things, right? And then I think
leave it to us to save their relationship.
Right, yeah. And even at halftime when they didn't, or no, the end of the game.
End of the game. Why don't you run the ball?
Right.
He said, why don't you run the
just every single play, probably, when he asked what was he upset about the last drive. And then he said, I felt like we were like 30 yards from ending the game in regulation and also felt it was a 2 minutes. So why are we calling all these plays that they were calling? He had no problems calling out his coach. But I guess
that's what I like about the veterans. That's what I like about the veterans. They're able to talk to their coaches, not the way we couldn't talk to our coaches back then either. But nowadays you can talk to your coach. Your coach depends on the players a lot more than they used to. They take all their advice. And I think the Cowboys and Dak Prescott especially should start taking advantage of the fact that you don't have to be the nice guy in the franchise. Just because you make all the money, and being a leader doesn't mean that you take on all the responsibility. You know, if you're a leader, then you know how to delegate power. You know how to delegate duties.
Thank you.
You do this, you do that, you do that. That's the leader that I'm looking for.
Did Troy wait till after the game to choose somebody out, or was the huddle hot?
Nah. First of all, hey, man, let's just say our condolences to Troy.
Yes.
He lost his mother.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes. And so
Charlene.
I found out last night during the game and tweeted him out, man. And we love you, Troy, bro. We love you, my man.
Yes, sir.
Troy has always been there for me, man.
He has.
And I was going to beat Troy up during the game for getting on my behind, for holding me accountable.
Yeah.
I ain't figure he told me in the right way.
Right.
But, hey, he told me.
Yeah.
And that's been my thing. That's, I try not to wrinkle feathers over there because I know one day I'm gonna go to them players for something. But I got to call it how I see it. And the first year or two he fell on the sword, I was like, wow, Mick, I just kind of be like, wow, okay, that's great.
Yeah.
Third, fourth, fifth year, no, we got to quit falling on the sword.
Right.
We got to start sticking it in somebody. Yeah.
I remember might have been his second year.
Yeah.
And he finished his little group interview, and I was hanging around and I was kind of looking like this, and he goes, "What are you looking at?" I said, "I'm looking for the stab room."
Thank you.
Because you keep falling on your sword. And he just looked at me and laughed like you just figured me out. Because I knew what he was saying, right? And it's like, no, those weren't your fault, right? They sold you out. And he at least laughed.
I know with this last week, I have not had a commentator like Olsen that really pointed that out right away on what happened on the combination route between Schultz and CD.
Yes.
Otherwise, I would have been kind of ignorant like everybody else. So we're like, man, because at first when
he ran that back, and that was great of them and Fox.
He caught it right away.
To run that
right away.
I tell.
And even the other one, because he said CD's got to flatten the route.
I've come to know that. Well, I've got plenty of interceptions like that. but I mean,
that one there in the end zone so tight and so quick. Yeah, I hit quick. Yeah. And I'm believing
I like
this.
that faith throws.
I'm believing this. If you're allowed to walk out of that locker room, and this is the difference when we play Everson and Mick and Galloway and all of these guys, Sherrod and all. They knew enough football, and they could get to them coaches quick enough after a game to go to pointing fingers real quick. Hey, man, my resource say that you didn't flat that out across the safety.
Right.
Why didn't you do that?
They'll come to the quarterback and ask him, was that on you?
Yeah.
Or was that boom, boom, boom?
Yeah.
Sure was.
So they could ask intelligent questions. Now guys get on their phone, tweet out, yeah, man, I did this and did that. Did you see me?
Right. And now, and guys, like you say, with Stephen A. and those guys, before they can even know what happened, they've already judged. I believe Stephen A. said that Dak Prescott is a detriment to this team.
I hope
yesterday. No, for real. He said, I'm not exaggerating. Yeah. He said he is not a detriment, but he's the weak link.
Oh.
He called him the weak link of the team. That's what he did.
Well, good thing we have no weak links on Mick shots here.
Wow.
And we segued into that, didn't we?
We'll take our last break here
Where's Bill Jones when you need him,
DallasCowboys.com.
Wow.
We paid how much for those lessons?
Shh. She's doing great.
Oh, yeah, totally. Can you pass me a Pepsi Zero Sugar? Great job, honey! Oh, look at that. That's not the end.
No way. Now it's time for the encore.
You know what? You're right. 5 times? Not enough times.
For everyone who traded in rock concerts for their kids' recitals, you've compromised enough. Pepsi Zero Sugar. That's what I like.
Nobody protects you from mayhem like Allstate. You hear that? I'm a torrential downpour. Torrential? What's that even mean? It means you can't see out of your windshield. And if you have the wrong car insurance, you might have to make it rain to fix your bumper. So switch to Allstate, save money, and be better protected from mayhem, like me.
Based on coverage and limits selected, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. In most states, prices vary based on how you buy. Allstate Bar and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
The Medal of Honor is our country's highest military award for valor in combat. More than 40 million individuals have served in the armed forces since the Civil War. Fewer than 4,000 have received the Medal of Honor. The National Medal of Honor Museum will be a place to preserve these legacies and inspire America. It's being built right next door to the Dallas Cowboys in Texas. Help us honor our country's greatest heroes. Learn more and get involved at mohmuseum.org.
The season is finally here. For months, we've been gearing up to win. Now it's time for the team that performs on any field, United Ag and Turf. With John Deere Zero Turns for mowing, compact tractors for loading, mini excavators for digging, Gator utility vehicles for hauling, implements for grading, hay tools for baling. United Ag and Turf, for winning. The official Ag and Turf equipment supplier of the Dallas Cowboys. Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com for more.
Back to Mick Shots.
Give the gift of the Cowboys this holiday season with a Dallas Cowboys United membership. Give your superfan an annual fan club membership and fan pack for as little as $20. 'Tis the season. Learn more at dallascowboys.com/United. I wanted to bring this up because I thought it was worth mentioning after listening to John Fossil yesterday. Luke Gifford. On special teams, he had 5 tackles, 3 solo, 2 assists. No one does that on special teams, right? And he had the fumble recovery, by the way. So they have this little board up there where it's a kind of a scoreboard for special teams. You get so many points for this or this or this. And he said usually what's really good is if you get to 500 points at the end of the season. He said, well, Gifford in that game probably earned 100 points for what he did.
We talked about it I brought it up when we left.
By the way, linebacker. You know, I don't know. He doesn't get many chances to play regular downs. But on special teams, so he had, I think he had ended up with 26 plays on special teams. So that was almost one play per 5. That's pretty good
it is.
on special teams. So, yeah, I thought after he pointed that out, so he played 87% of the special teams plays.
We brought it up yesterday after the show. Should have talked about it on the air.
Yeah.
But I remember yelling out, man, Gifford.
Give him a shot.
Yeah, got to give him a shout out. I think that's one of the better, for a guy not returning punts and things like that. That's one of the better special teams performances I think I've ever seen to be that prominent in throughout the entire game. That's a tough call, but I don't think I've seen anybody that involved, especially when you're talking about fumble recoveries. Did he cause a fumble as well?
I thought he did. They didn't give him credit for one. But
29.
He was on
Goodwin.
Goodwin.
After he got hurt and he came back in and played.
Yeah.
Anyway, Luke Gifford, pretty, I guess we have to do a game by game of Bill Bates.
Three facets.
Yeah.
Offense, defense, and special teams. That's the only way we're going to make it all the way.
And, I know what's the thing I wanted to point out. So Aaron Rodgers, he was asked if he was surprised the Cowboys didn't kick the field goal on 4th and 3 in overtime. And he said, I'd want to go for it there. The field goal is not the end of the game. They had a good drive. They hit some plays. So, no, I would have wanted to go for that there. I wasn't sure if and then he pointed out on the 4th down if Dak's knee had hit the ground because they would have had even better field. I think he got it off.
Yeah.
But see, that was my point. Not only the conditions, we talked about that yesterday, just the fact that the field goal doesn't win the game. And it's not a given you're going to make it. And you're going to give them 10 yards from wherever you're snapping the ball.
I still think I would have gone for the field goal.
But they would have lost.
Yeah, why you say that?
Because they drove right down the field.
Yeah, but that don't mean they're going to do it this time.
Well, why not?
Well, maybe somebody make a play this time.
Well,
I mean, come on. I gave up a whole bunch of touchdowns in 81, but eventually I got the pick. I mean,
I'm just saying.
Sometimes it's like, the way they should have given up all the plays, but see, the pick is the pick.
I don't understand this. I don't understand this. We went from nobody can move the ball our defense to now they would have lost.
Yeah. Come on, he already said they would have lost.
Which one is it, Mick?
Which one is it,
Mick?
Well,
which one is it?
They got the ball at the 35-yard line.
Okay.
After the fourth down.
Mm-hmm.
If you think about it, when they were kicking off, and they were kicking off so short, they were getting the ball at the 30-yard line. Aaron Jones, 1 yard. Jones, 8 yards. And then they hit him with the 36-yard pass. Jones, 15 yards. 5 yards, and then a face mask, another 15 yards. And there they were at the Cowboys' 7.
Okay.
Just that.
And so it was 3 points.
This is what he and Bill does.
Yeah.
They have this revisionist history thing to where they say, well, if you would just do this and then do that, it's going to be the exact same way. No, it isn't. If you kick a field goal,
now
and you
take
take
got
the
3,
lead,
and that means they got to get 7.
and then your momentum is different. Mentally, you're different. And I've seen it happen too many times. You know you have 2 Spags to where a team, their defense sucks all game, but now we need you to come through. Come on, that could have been a moment.
Like Minnesota did at Buffalo down there on the 1.
Will you tell them?
Yeah.
Will you tell them?
It got this, yeah.
All I know
is our defense went from the wrecking crew to not
It was a defense that needed a nickname. It needed a nickname.
It was a wrecking crew all the way to.
Now we're going to automatically give it up.
Yeah.
We're just going to automatically give it up.
Yeah.
No love.
Our defense
they
ain't
would
no
have
good.
lost anyway.
They scored, if you don't count the last possession at the end of the game when they basically sat on it, right? They scored 4 consecutive possessions.
Yes.
So
but
what
we
makes
didn't
you
score.
think
we
that
didn't
fourth?
Score.
What
when
makes
we
you
score,
think
it changes your entire mentality.
Not a field goal.
Yeah,
it
puts you ahead.
Sometimes you got to believe like Muhammad Ali believed the rope-a-dope that he got Foreman. Boom,
like what they said about Ali. Foreman's going to kill him.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
I mean, he got him in the end. He had him shaking it the rest of his life.
And that fourth score.
But he won the fight.
That fourth score would have been a touchdown. They were at the 7-yard line.
Man.
They would have scored.
Our defense went from the killers of the Midlands.
I can't give up on them like that.
Aaron Rodgers knew what he was talking about.
Wow, Mick. Mick, like, wow, a week ago they couldn't do no wrong.
Yeah.
So what? They rushed for 200 yards. We won the game.
No, I did not. Because they also gave up 29 points to the Bears.
Goodness, man.
Forget that they gave up 150 yards. We won the game. I said, all
little
right.
faith. Oh, my goodness.
That's not about
Mick,
faith.
I can't believe that.
You see where that faith gets you when you're throwing the football?
Oh,
Yeah.
my goodness.
Them faith throws?
Stop me. Mick just turned on the team in here.
That's a
We
good
better
one.
get off Mick shots.
Yeah, man. This is crazy. That got a score.
Yeah.
You got any? I can see if I got anything else on my
man.
notes here. That
Momentum,
you just
man.
gotta
Y'all better hurry
have.
and get Bill back when y'all can
momentum.
corral this dude.
It's the
Y'all.
momentum, man. You got to rally. You just went up on the field goal.
Yes, sir.
And you're still thinking that Aaron Rodgers is going to come down and do whatever the heck he wants to do.
I've seen it too many times. I need to take
a
you
little
back to
faith,
2016. And even and check this out, and this is always funny. So we keep kind of gigging McCarthy about the catch, no catch. I mean, there were signs in the stands about it was a catch, right?
Yeah.
And McCarthy was talking about, the reason he challenged it because he had the referee read him the rule, and he goes, okay, if that's what it is, I'm challenging this. And we're going, yeah, but it was still a catch. And he goes, well, it doesn't matter. I had a drive. We're going to go down and score and beat them anyway.
See that? You see that? They have not even.
Mick, so why have you turned on the defense?
You see that?
I got this number right here. It says 447. Those are rushing yards they've given up in the last 2 games. 447 yards rushing the last 2 games.
Now, you know what, Walls? I've been saying this for 6-7 years now, and everybody ignored it. So why is it so important now?
Because you lost.
Okay. All right.
If you score 40,
there's gonna be a moment that's gonna be similar to this.
Yes.
And I'm gonna bring it up because someone's gonna defy the odds.
That's right.
According to Mick Shotology.
4 straight possessions they scored. That's all
I'm gonna tell you what. And the Bears scored on 4 straight possessions and still lost the game.
There you go.
Yeah, because why? You scored 49.
Yeah.
Right?
Wow.
And you're not going to score 49 every week to win. And
you can't trust reporters, man.
No,
they'll
we got
turn
you.
on you, man.
I got you.
They will turn on you.
Analytics always favor them because they got the pen.
Yeah, he's talking about analytics.
They got
this guy's
the pen.
analytics right here.
Yeah.
Much as he dogs analytics, he's analytics.
No, it's not analytics.
Yes,
it's
it is.
You just went 4, 4, 7.
Numbers, right?
It's common sense. Who gives up 447 yards rushing in 2 games?
We do.
Well, yeah, and they got themselves
I had
beat.
them at 150. I say if we hold them to 150, we got them, but I was 57 yards short.
There you go.
Yeah. Wow.
All right. There is Mick shots since we've used our 5 minutes of, what do they call it in soccer? Extra time, not overtime. It's extra time, and we've used it up. Nate, thanks for joining us.
You, Nate.
All right, man.
Everson, see you tomorrow,
Yes,
and we'll
sir.
see if Bill's ready to go.
So
Otherwise,
we don't need him. We don't need you, Bill.
What size
Chill.
shoe is A.J. Dillon? What size shoe? Because he must have stepped in Bill's chest.
no, he just made him sick. That's all. All right, that's it for Mick Shots. We'll see you tomorrow.
Go Cowboys.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!